Okay, so this is kind of the last little bit here. If you're not convinced by now, and if you've really dug your heels, and try this. I'm in a room with a whiteboard, and this whiteboard's on the other side of the wall in the other room, and I point at that. What am I pointing to? Am I pointing to the black color? Am I pointing to the X? Am I pointing to the whiteboard? Am I pointing to the whiteness? Am I pointing to the wall? Am I pointing to the whiteboards on the other side? Am I pointing at the universe? What am I pointing at? Well, if it's true that there's just states of affairs every time I point, well, I could be pointing at everything, the state of affairs in the world. Uh, um, but if there's no things for me to be pointing at, then when I point at this, I'm pointing through the marker, because there is no marker. There aren't markers. I'm pointing through that at the fundamental particles. I'm pointing at a particle assembly. That's what I'm doing. I'm pointing well, that's not a thing. Really? It's not? Sure looks like a thing. Feels like a thing. My mind is carving up the world in such a way to tell me that's a thing, but you want me to say it's not. What am I pointing at then? I'd have to be pointing at the fundamental particles. Here's your problem. What if I don't know that? What if I don't know that there are fundamental particles? When I do an ostensive action and say that, my point, I'm still pointing at the fundamental particles that I don't know are there. I'm intending to point at something that I don't even know exists. Don't want to say that. That sounds weird. How would I point at something I don't know is there? That's not what I'm doing. I'm not pointing. If I don't know that there are fundamental particles, I can't be pointing at them. So I'm pointing at something. What am I pointing at? Well, that thing. It's an absurd mereology, and Craig nails it. He knocks it out of the park. And at the end of the day, I mean, Aristotle was onto this when he said there's a difference between matter and form. Now, the form may not be able to exist without the matter, and all matter might come to us in a form, but that doesn't change the fact that matter and form aren't ontologically reducible to each other. And that does you in. I mean, think about the words this, those, that, it, them. You're all talking about what? Things. And trying to re-describe them as assemblages doesn't get you out of them, because assemblages are just things. An assemblage is a thing. Now, it might be that we use things differently and that we have different descriptions of things, and so something that looks random to me might not look random to you, or I might make a piece of art that you think is just a clump, but it's really my piece of art, and it's an identity problem or a problem of how we carve up the world. But the fact is that we do carve up the world, and the world is carved up. There's no way around that. Now you can be postmodernist about this and try and dig your heels in if you want, but you don't live that way. Neither does anyone else. And the reason you don't live that way is because look, there are things. People say, "Well, that's just a collection of atoms." No, look, see, it's fantastic. That's not just a mere collection of atoms. Look at me, it's amazing. It's red. It's all ordered. I mean, look what I can do with this. Like this. Oh, face, incredible. It's beautiful. I mean, look, it's incredible. That's not just a mere collection of things. It's amazing. So I think that about does it. And I think that you guys are finished. Now, I mean, like I said, you can try and dig your heels in and continue to insist that they're not things, or they're not things in the relevant sense. But you have to tell me what the relevant sense is. I don't know what the relevant, like, if that's not a thing, I don't know what the relevant sense would be. The sense of being indivisible, well, no one's ever proven that there's an indivisible thing out there, so that might fail. Trying to call this just a state of affairs, well, what do you mean this is, what's a state of affairs? This? This what? This thing. The fact of the matter is, my friends, there are some things you can't describe your way out of. Okay, so this is the last part, this is part 5. Don't call Dr. Craig dishonest until you've read the work. In debates, he will rather than go into depth refuting a point, just give a counterexample and hope that your intuitions follow his. That's why he says, well, that mountain over there began to exist, or I began to exist. What he's doing is he's saying, look, I get 20 minutes, then 10 minutes, then 5 minutes, then a Q&A. In a debate, that's generally how the times are allotted. I don't have time to do a full analysis of everything, and that's one of the big criticisms of debates. That's one of the big criticisms. One of the strengths of a debate is that you get to hear both sides talking to each other, and they're really good that way, and you can hash some things out. But one of the criticisms is you have to limit the time in order to get both sides equal. That's one of the problems. And so what you have to do is you have to sometimes just throw something out there and hope that people catch the intuitions of it and can break it down for themselves. Now, not everybody can, but that's what you have to try and do. That's not dishonesty, especially if you've published full refutations backing up your intuitions, or I shouldn't say full refutations, maybe a better way to say full articles or full journal entries or full books. And Dr. Craig has done this. He's published the Kalam Cosmological Argument. Read that. He's published God, Time, and Eternity. He's published all kinds of books dealing with all the objections that you guys are bringing up. Don't call him dishonest until you've read the work.